Let me bring you to our first game of the series today. The map is Nexus. White Flash Reborn's map, updated map I should say. Playing on the western side as the USF in our game 1 is going to be Jove. And his opponent today, equally fearsome, the Spaniard himself. Possibly one of the only Spaniards I know in Company Heroes 2. He is Jesulin, playing as the Austere. For anybody that's new to this game, by the way, I should say a little bit about these two players. Jesulin is one of Company of Heroes 2's best players. In fact, for the first 2 or 3 years that this game was out, all you would hear about was Jesulin this, Jesulin that. He really was the best. He was absolutely toe-to-toe with Love Nest for a number of years, but then came Jove, and Jove was the first person in this game to hit #1 in ranking with all 5 factions at the same time. So Jove is also an incredibly good player. He's versed in every faction at the top level, and he knows kind of like the core. So two huge names in Company of Heroes 2. I couldn't be more excited to cast this series, but let me just get on to some early commentary. Jesulin, of course, has already gone in with a commander pick. He's gone for Mechanized Assault Doctrine. We see he's already brought on 2 Assault Grenadiers, late game Tiger Tank. Mechanized Assault, very mobile on the field, a lot of call-ins. And a very interesting one. Of course, it means Jesulin has not gone for tier 1 at the start of this game, but he will have quite good offensive output at the start of this match. It's a doctrine that needs to be used quickly. As soon as those Assault Grenadiers are revealed, Jove is going to know exactly what is up and start building the counter. So we need to see a lot of work done from these Assault Grenadiers right at the start. And here they go, just trying to muscle on top of the Riflemen with support of the MG42. And the output of these units is just absolutely crazy, especially when they stand still, 2 of them together, and open up on the Riflemen and force away 1 retreat already. Jove's done very well at the start of this game to actually just get control of a lot of the map fast. He's going to need that resource boost to start bringing out some early game units, probably something like the M20, which is going to be able to take advantage of the fact there's no snares for Jesulin because of his decision not to go to tier 1. M20 looks like it might be a really good early game choice here. See Jove trying to get flank on these pioneers. Jesulin's pretty calm. Like you said, one of the big things for Jesulin here is he really just has to maintain the territory, and one of the things he's doing, he's actually decapping here the strategic point in the north, which is going to mean that actually Jove doesn't have access to all these strategic points and fuel points on the right-hand side. Really good play by Jesulin. It's going to remove some of that resource lead that Jove's had from the start.
Panzer Grenadiers standing by.
Jesulin there, that means he has teched up to Battle Phase 1, Panzer Grenadiers out in the field. There's such a huge early game, close range damage output build from Jesulin. It's quite crazy, really. A lot of these units can run and gun with a lot of energy and power. Jesulin, we see here, he's just building his tier 2 now. I'm very interested in this build. The lieutenant's out for Jove. He's going to go for a suppression platform rather than bring any vehicles out to deal with this. He's actually going to bring out a 50 cal machine gun of his own. Wow, thank God there's no mortars on the field. A lot of units bunched up there. Well, I have to say, as far as Company of Heroes goes, these kind of games are my absolute favorite. Like, right from the start, there's a lot going on in this game. We might see the first squad wipe if those Pioneers don't get out in time. Fortunately, it looks like Jesulin did hit the retreat in time. Echelon's actually doing surprisingly good, with a little bit of help from the Riflemen here to take models off of the Assault Grenadiers. And this is also really good positioning from the Panzer Grenadiers. There's only one window on this side, so only one of the Riflemen is able to fire back at these Panzer Grenadiers. All four of them can fire through the building, but there's the suppression from the 50 cal. Good placement from Jove. Now, Jesulin straight away is actually going to go for the AT gun. I just want to point out the Pioneers did go down to the Riflemen. So the first loss in this game is actually for Jesulin. He's going to go for an AT gun. I think he is aware at this point that that Jove is going to go for the Stuart, and that's absolutely what Jove has done.
Is ready for orders.
Whilst the pack gun is going to be good, there's no Pioneers to plant mines. There's no units that are going to be able to snare at this point. Although Jesulin does have the ability to take up to Panzerschrecks on his Assault Grenadiers, but really, I don't know if that's what he intended that unit to be on the field for initially. The Stuart is going to be really tough to deal with. The AT gun, you just see it coming in from the east at the moment, just east of these Assault Grenadiers. They're going to be staying around to provide sight. And just lost the sight there for a second. You see Jesulin, he's trying to get it, but the AT gun wasn't set up. Oh, and the first shot misses. Unfortunate. Don't think the second shot of that AT gun will land. Jesulin's actually taken a bit of a battering so far. He's more than 150 VPs lost. Jove has all three at the moment. It's a triple cap. And we see here Riflemen laying mines. Of course, Jove going for heavy cavalry company. Riflemen are able to lay these traps on the front lines themselves. Now, this is really unfortunate that MG42 there, I think, may have been reloading whilst the echelons approached, allowing them to get a successful flank. Couldn't have gone worse for Jesulin. And I think this is the big problem now, with Jove having the ability to lay defensive mines, snares. He's going to be able to take these engagements at long range. Jesulin's entire build here was relying on close range engagements, and Jove is controlling everything at range right now. Interested to see what Jesulin's going to do here. Thinking maybe he'd upgrade to the Panzerschreck, try to chase down the Stuart, but we're not seeing that on the Assault Grenadiers yet. There's one of the mines that goes off. Jesulin's a little bit slow to get the Assault Grenadiers out the half track. Was lucky not to lose more models than that. In the north, going to be a late retreat here on the Assault Grenadiers. Jesulin's desperate to stay in there with some of the vision for the AT gun. He's lucky to get that squad out of there, to be honest. So unfortunate. Couple of models didn't run around the corner, are going to take the suppression. And actually, without that unit there, Jesulin's going to be able to grab the fuel, grab the VP, and start buying himself a little bit of time. I see Jesulin's just continue going into these engagements on low health. Really great start to the game so far. Jove definitely in the lead at this point. He's in the lead on resources, VPs. He's got a great late game commander and probably going to be able to afford a vehicle and the Pershing if it ever came to that point.
The enemy has broken our supply lines.
All these engagements are doing are just wasting time. It's nice to see that Jesulin's assault grenadiers are picking off the occasional model, but assault grenadiers are kind of close mid. And if Jove keeps playing the long-range engagements, he will come out on top, pretty much every time.
The enemy is attempting to steal our sector.
Jesulin still on battle phase 1 at the moment. I have a feeling that Jesulin is going to be forced into saving for like teching in a late game call-in. Which is going to be, I think that's about right. Unless Jesulin gets a serious turnaround in resources, he's just going to have to tech up and call out the Tiger. Does have access to the Stuki. Because we do still have mines laid down from Jove here. Jesulin's got to be careful. He hasn't got pioneers, and it's going to be costly for him to get pioneers back. Although saying that, he's stacking a lot. He's stacking a lot of resources right now. Jesulin, 400 manpower, 330 munitions, 200 fuel, and no game advantage. Feeling he's just a little bit stuck. Nice use of the off-map smoke here from Heavy Cavalry Commander. Assault Grenadiers having trouble dealing with the Riflemen in the north. So far, apart from the Pioneers, I think Jesulin has actually been pretty on top of the infantry engagements. Just really unlucky at the start. He didn't get the map control he wanted. This commander is supposed to be really great in the early game and allow you to take that territory, but didn't work for Jesulin at all. Got another call in now with the Assault Grenadiers.
We are losing a sector.
And I really think that really committing to the strategy in the way that he has is just going to backfire now. This is going to be so easy to counter for Jove. Once he sees that a second half-track has come out with Assault Grenadiers, and there's the mine. Jesulin right now is just trying to lead the Stuart perhaps towards the AT gun. AT gun does have veterancy 1, so target weak point would snare a vehicle long enough to get a kill. Hopefully Jesulin is going to make use of that. It's probably the only tool he has at the moment to snare vehicles. And this is what Jesulin wanted, I think, originally. Just wanted this really high output damage squad being as mobile as it could on the field. It's taken him ages to get this far. At least his units are being healed now back in base. There's the suppression. Good chance for the half-track to come in. Right, AT gun. Does he use target weak point? If he'd used it, he probably would have snared the Stuart long enough to get the kill. That's a real shame that Jesulin didn't get that then. You see Jove's commitment here to taking the fuel all the time he's on the fuel. If he hasn't got double fuel, it's always the case that Jesulin doesn't have any fuel.
The enemy has dealt us a blow.
Oh. AT gun setting up in position for the Stuart to come back around. And Jove is going to go for a Sherman at this point. Not far away from the Pershing. So, maybe a little surprised at that, to be honest. This is great awareness from Jove. Actually getting out and back in again. I wonder if Jesulin knows that that unit is still in the building. He's probably going to have to go around and check again now. That's really, really good from Jove. Nice grenade from Jesulin. The other ones hadn't been particularly great. This one does get some good output. Can they finish off that last model of the Rangers? It's so crucial to get these model wipes. Jesulin here, though, playing some great map strategy. He's cut Jove off from his fuel on the right-hand side. Jove is just about to get the Sherman. And the Sherman's going to be a lot easier to deal with than the Pershing. Of course, Pershing is a crazy unit in this game. It's able to wipe infantry squads easily, great rate of fire. When eventually it does start to vet up, it can throw grenades out through the hatch at infantry that are nearby, which makes it quite formidable. Off-map artillery here from Jesulin. Jove has just been on point with the 50 cal in this building. And no threat whatsoever. Being totally honest at this moment, I think the Sherman is going to end up being a mistake for Jove. Jove has to really jump on VPs now. Jesulin has a lot of resources. Let's see if he's teching, because that would suggest he's ready to go up for the Tiger. He's not yet. And I'm surprised by that. 2 big hits there from the AT guns. Grenades from the assault grenadiers. There's a late retreat from Jove.
Light artillery barrage at your command. Our opponents are seizing
Now,
a sector.
we're seeing here Jesulin. I think he's going to go for the grenade, bait these Rangers in. Jove, again, he's had great control of the infantry squads in this game so far.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
There's another off-map artillery in the north. Once again, quick responses from Jove. And actually, Jesulin's going to have to retreat out of that. I think Jove's got the bars now on his riflemen, so we were waiting for Jove to kind of counter this close range strategy from Jesulin. Having the bars now on the riflemen is going to make it really, really difficult for Jesulin to make any ground.
We're losing a capture point.
Keep the pressure up, indeed. That's absolutely what Jove is doing right now. This has been one of the biggest issues in the game so far, is the lack of snares. Jesulin just hasn't been able to stun the Stuart. He's also not making use of the AT gun abilities. He hasn't been able to lay mines because of the loss of the Pioneer in the early game. Here comes the battle phase 3 though. I think now we're seeing Jesulin's ready to bring out the Tiger. He just has to hold on to VPs. The center's really important right now. Grenade coming in from the cavalry. Gonna get a counter grenade. Not bad. The desperation to stay on this VP is just so obvious. Jove's going to sense this. Jove's going to know how much pressure Jesulin is under. Just because of the amount of fight being put into just this one VP. It's the only thing that's going to allow Jesulin to stall for time and get out a unit that could perhaps turn the situation around. At the same time though, really, look at Jesulin's forces. He's trying to save up for the Tiger. It also means that he can't reinforce and get on the field. So everything he has here at the moment has got to be used so well. Really unfortunate shot from the AT gun there. 2 are going to miss. And if you're watching this game at any point live or eventually on YouTube, I always say this, I never even see some of the top players in this game utilize this ability of target weak point. Especially if you don't have access to snares. This is the thing that will allow your AT guns to kill tanks. I don't know whether it's that everyone's forgotten that it exists, but it's a shame. It's a shame not to get to see it used. There's been a couple of opportunities that it would have been fantastic here. I think roughly 300 munitions has been spent trying to get rid of this 50 cal from Jove. Jove's been on top of it every time. Now we see 2 AT guns. They're horribly out of position against the Rangers. That is essential suppression there, perhaps saving that assault grenadier. And here it is. Just as the 100 VPs remaining is called out, the Tigers now on the field. We have got to see huge things from this unit. Jove has built up a lot of resources again, so he can actually call out the Pershing, and still got the Sherman and the Stuart on the field.
The sector has been cut off.
See how desperate Jesulin is. He's got to be careful though. The Pershing is ready to call in, and here it is. Jesulin is so overextended at this moment. I am a little bit worried here, and Jesulin goes into the base and sees this. Let's just hope there are no mines that we haven't seen in this game. This isn't a clear win for Jove, but the AT guns are quite far away. This is a nice movement from Jove. You see how he stops the Pershing when he wants to fire to make sure that he gets that extra accuracy. Of course, when the unit is moving, it's not as accurate. It's a bit of a dance here between the players. Riflemen are coming in. I think they've got the snare. They do. This is huge trouble for the Tiger. I think the model trying to drop the snare died. It's going to cause Jesulin to try and go in against the Pershing. This is risky. Needs to be a bounce. Needs to be a bounce. It's not a bounce. Tiger is down, and I'm pretty sure Jesulin's going to be down at this point. Stuart is in the base. The 2 AT guns have had to come all the way back. Jove may even be able to get away with this. I think he's going to. Nope. Well, Jove has fallen back a little bit, but he's definitely, I believe, won this game at the moment. Jesulin's used his remaining resources to call in a Stug 3. Not Stug E, sorry. It's not going to be enough against Pershing Sherman. We're going to have to see some kind of miracle plays with the AT guns for this to work. Oh, I like this.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
It always looks amazing, but it is not in its former glory. I think unit's been through a number of changes.
The enemy is taking our territory.
There was a time when you could roll out the Stug E and your opponent would perhaps have to provide a counter. Now it's just okay. Jesulin cannot lose the VP here. Pershing in the north. Try and help take the VP in the middle. Jesulin's position with the AT gun here has got to be He can't make a single mistake. In fact, losing the VP at any moment that's just going to be it. That's just going to be the end of the game.
We are
I think
losses.
squad wipe there. Assault grenadiers go down.
The enemy is attempting to steal
See,
our
Jesulin is
sector.
trying to ground attack through the sight blocker. Just taking guess shots, trying to hit the Pershing. Some of the shots that do hit are bouncing. Now with the Vet 3 AT gun, being completely honest, I would really, really hope to see some magic happen.
Our opponents are seizing a sector.
Jove now on 2 VPs. We're just seeing the VP ticker tick down slowly. Great hit from the Pershing there. As we were talking about earlier, the Pershing is just adept at wiping infantry squads.
We are losing a sector.
An interesting strategy from Jesulin, just didn't pay off. Jove has
25 points remaining.
handled game 1 very well. The play's been solid, the build was solid, the teching was well thought out. He responded to everything Jesulin had. Couldn't ask for more.
I feel we are losing. With 10 points remaining.
Now that's desperation. That Vet 3 AT gun is crucial, but he's trying to get it into the VP. It's not going to make any difference. Jove has 2 VPs. And Jove now just coming in for the finishing blow. That's going to be the end of game 1. And GG to Jove. Alright, good game 1. Very good game 1, actually.